historian.
My apologies. There's a brisk wind. The clouds rolled in and it brought with it a chilly... the clouds rolled in and it brought with it a chilly wind. Anyway, never making a movie again. No, we just finished day 2. And this was... I'm glad that I made it through and kept my sanity, because there were some moments today. There were some moments today I thought I was going to lose my fucking mind. And it had nothing to do... Everybody I worked with, you know, people I worked with on Monday, the same people I worked with today. We had an additional actor playing a druggie. He did fantastic. He was really affable. We got along really well. I'd love to work with the guy again. The people, everyone was great. It was just the world was against us. Okay, now, okay, so it's entirely my fault. I made the decision. I thought it would be really cool, really awesome. I'd always wanted to film in this area. Even when I first wrote this scene, I've never actually shot this scene. And I finally shot it today. And there's a scene where my lead character rips off a druggie. Anyway, it has a purpose. And I always wanted to film it in that industrial neighborhood on the east side of the river, just east of the Willamette River, right across from downtown. There's those old warehouses, overpasses. I did a video on my channel like a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, something like that, where I was walking through there and trying to scout locations. That was for what I shot today. We were supposed to start at 10. We should have been done in that area by like 4 at the latest. Now, we did take about a 45-minute break, which I wasn't planning on us taking that big of a break, but we'd been going, we'd been having to be patient, and you know, people were getting hungry. I mean, we had to take a break. I wasn't going to run all my performers into the ground, but we ended up getting kind of a late start because, get this, I'm going to tell you every fuckover that we had to deal with today. Okay, so, you know, when you're a super indie filmmaker who has no money and you gotta just, if you want to film at a certain type of location, you've got to go out and film at that certain type of location. And I already know that a filmmaker such as myself has to accept that when you go out into the world, you know, the world's not going to revolve around the film you want to make. I know that, I understand that, I accept that. But today was the most stressful shooting day I've ever had on a film. And I've had some doozies in the past. Even Monday was kind of stressful. The fact that I hadn't done a film in forever. We had all these planes flying overhead. But we made it through. And we made it through today. But here's how things start. So if you watched that video, and if you didn't, go give it a look, you know. I mean, some of it is me saying, hey, I should film here, I should film there. But I also discuss like some of the history, and I show you some cool old like warehouses and whatnot, and you get a feel for what it's like down in that area. But I picked out this spot that I found while I was doing that video, and it's this place called it's called like West Coast Auto Supply, or maybe it's just Coast Auto Supply. It's a building, it's been somewhat boarded up. There was a lot of graffiti on it. I was like, this is a great spot to film like a druggy type scene. And I walk by it, it's dead silent. There's nobody there. It's kind of at the end of the road, so there's not going to be a bunch of cars coming up and down the road. It's a perfect shooting location. It's got that beat up, abandoned, urban feel to it. We show up today, you know, again, you know, maybe 2 weeks since I visited that area. It's roped off, and there's like 3 big construction vehicles there, and they're like I don't know if they're tearing the building down, they're doing something to the building. So immediately the spot I want to shoot at is gone. Now I have a backup, but I was really banking still on being able to shoot there. So I went to our next location, and it worked. It was a good backdrop, but oh my God, the people passing by and talking, the big loud trucks, which again, I knew this stuff happens, I knew it was going to happen, but seriously, when I went through all these areas, when I was doing that other video, there was so much less stuff going on. And today was a Wednesday. We started, we ended up starting at 11 instead of 10 because we had to gather together, we had to figure out what we were going to do, we had to all convene, we had to meet up, then we had to reconsider our filming location. So, what was I saying? So, it's just that, I'm already having to come up, think about a lot of extra stuff. This is another reason I don't want to do films like this anymore after this, because it's too much stuff for one person to have to do, which I know it is. I needed to prove to myself that I can do this again. I haven't done shot a film in almost 3 years, and I keep coming up with ideas, and I keep telling myself at the end of the day, doing another feature is too much for you to handle. Well, here I am, I'm going out there and I'm doing it, come what may. So, and then, we have the occasional plane, but it's mostly random loud vehicles passing. And it was, this was somewhat early in the day, or like late morning into the afternoon, we're out here. And there's just people everywhere. You can't find a single spot to park. We're packed. I walked through there on a weekday, same general time. It was late morning to the early afternoon. There's, like, parking spots everywhere. There was, like, endless places to park. And then suddenly today, another weekday, suddenly there's no places to park. So, I don't know. You see, that's why I went out there, is because I was banking on gathering information from that visit to know where to go and to know what would work. And then we show up and it's like everybody and their cousin is hanging out in this industrial area today. And then, as we're trying to finish the first scene, which is taking a while to do because it's the first scene of the day, we had to change locations, and there was just little random issues popping up. We got like 2 or 3 shots left to do. This helicopter starts circling the area, and that's, going to affect our audio. The helicopter affects you more than the plane does. So we're literally having to wait, and we're watching it every time the helicopter goes away in that direction. We're watching to see if it's going to turn and come back, and then sure as shit it would turn and come back. We finally managed to get it done, and I ended up having to follow the philosophy of just doing a buttload of takes, altering the angle slightly, because it was like every single take we did, there was something that would happen that would affect the audio. So I'm like, we get, several takes of this same scene, we're going to have at least one good one for every line of dialogue. Hopefully more, but I don't want to be greedy. And then we moved to go do the next scene, which I want under under one of those overpasses that's literally like you're on the road and then an overpass for the same road is going under you, which there's like 4 or 5 of those in that industrial area. And of course, when I went through there looking for scene locations, there's a bunch of open parking spaces in these like underpass areas. So we get there today, of course, there's no spots to park. We literally ended up choosing a spot that was a no parking area, but we're like, we're not going to be here that long, hopefully, and we're going to be here. We're not like leaving the car here. And then that was like literally what we were having to settle for. And then we found one spot that was actually across from it that wasn't an area that you could park in. And we filmed, and we had a few issues, a few cars drove through. That actually went fairly well. The problem was once we moved over to there, right when we started shooting, literally right as I was getting my first shot set up for the day, this is going back to the start of the shoot, a train comes through. We relocate to that other spot, we have to pause 3 times for a train. 2 of them are really long trains. That was what sucked. A lot of the trains we encountered were long trains that take like, 7 to 10 minutes to be gone. And even after it passes us, the marker things that come down that go ding, 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 you can hear those for several blocks. So even after the train was gone, we'd have to wait till it passed like blocks further down because we could still hear the dings of all those. So that slowed us down a little bit, but then we finally take a break. We needed one. And it's like, it's 3 o'clock and I wanted to be done in this area by 4, so that's not gonna happen. Let's get a hold of everything. I had to get some very unhealthy food to soothe my fury. But as I was saying, so even by the time we get done filming under the overpass, I am getting real tired of these trains. And I admit, you know, I was thinking about a lot of stuff when I decided to stick with choosing that area to do these scenes. And I admit, the trains, the tracks in that area, that was one thing that slipped my mind, and that was the biggest thing we had to deal with. So I certainly don't want anybody to think that I wasn't, like, preparing the best I could with what I have to work with, but that's one thing that totally slipped my mind. And look at this, no traffic. I can just wander across a busy street and not give a hell. Is that even a saying? So we take our break back over by where we congregated, and we use the building next door, this cool little brick building with some ghost writing on it. I can't remember exactly what it was called, but like a lot of big brick buildings down there. It's like an old warehouse. It's been there for like, you know, 100 years, something like that. And there's businesses along the front, or along the side that's on the street, but if you look at it from the side, which it would be the east side of the building, it just looks all beat up and run down. It looks like it could totally be getting repurposed at some point, which is why the characters are there. So we're on this little slab of concrete, there's railroad tracks, and then there's the building. So we're right on the railroad tracks. It's getting a little later in the day, so I'm really hoping the trains are gonna stop coming through. We got an Amtrak train right at the start, so I'm like, okay, it's an Amtrak train. Okay, it's not a big deal, you know, it's only a problem for like a minute or two. But then, I believe 3 more like cargo trains came through, these ones that go like 5 miles an hour. And literally, like, it was break time. It was like, okay, who's ready for another 10-minute break? Because that's how long it's going to be to get this damn train through here. And then the weather pattern started shifting, which is why I'm glad we decided to film in the shade. We filmed in the shade of the building instead of out in the sun. Because, like, we would have been screwed, because in the middle of shooting at this location, the clouds started rolling in, and now it's pretty overcast right now. I don't think it's gonna rain, but it's pretty overcast. That would have, if we were out in the sun and that sudden shift in the weather pattern, that would have just ruined everything. So the fact that we started shooting in the shade and that the sun started falling behind the clouds, it didn't affect our shooting that much because we were still in the shade. So the light we had really didn't change that much, even though there was less sunlight. And yeah, I mean, and I knew we were going to be left with 1 or 2 little things left to do, but I realized, you know, it's almost 6 o'clock by the time we got done in the warehousing district down there. So we started an hour late, and we ended up finishing almost 2 hours later than I wanted to in that area. Mostly because of just the elements around us. And then there'd be planes, and there'd be someone with a loud vehicle that would go bang, bang, bang over the railroad tracks, and just... There's all these things you need to prepare for when you're doing a film, but the simple fact of the matter is, I'm not going to beat myself up that much over it, because, again, I've been through that area numerous times, and the amount of sound from so many different sources, it was so much louder there today than it has ever been when I've walked through that area at any time. I'm talking... later in the evening, I'm talking. I did a little documentary bit. It was like an 8-minute video on the buildings down there, and you know, you can hear the audio from all the places I went to, the various shots I caught. There's practically no sound down there, no traffic. And today, I'm sorry, my nose is really itching. It was just packed with people. There was no way we were going to be able to keep up schedule with the constant interruptions from just a multitude of different things. It wasn't just the trains and the planes and the automobiles. It was just a lot of stuff. It just wouldn't stop. So we still had like 4 things to do, and the cloud cover's making it really dark. It's practically 6 o'clock by the time we leave. It's sun setting in an hour, and I realize we're probably only going to get 1 more scene done. We actually ended up getting 2. But yeah, so it came down as we were driving to this park in Selwood. I was thinking, okay, we're going to have to pick to either do this scene or this scene because we're not going to have enough light for both. And then we managed to get a small scene that's literally just one of the characters calling up a payphone, which didn't have to be day or night, so the fact that it was getting dark outside didn't affect it that much. We got some good shots, and that was the end of the day. I got a ride home, and I've been home for, well, I mean, I was home for about 5 minutes, then I was like, I need to eat. Went out and got some food, and I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna eat, I'm gonna watch television, and then I'm gonna sleep like I've never slept before, and I'm gonna wake up and go to work tomorrow. Because when you take off 2 or 3 days in a week from your workplace to do a film, you pretty much get stuck working all the days you're not shooting a film. But it's a Thursday, and it's only like 6-7 hours, something like that. I'll live. It'll be a lot less stressful than today was, but for all the pain and suffering that was inflicted upon all of us that were involved in this production today, and as the director and the, person coordinating things, I definitely think it was bothering me, like, internally to my core, substantially more than everyone else. It was really, there were moments I was ready to just smash out a window and scream and curse and just storm off. It was so frustrating dealing with the elements. But that being said, we're through a good amount of the exteriors that we have to shoot, which is where you get affected by all this crap. 75-80% of the hard stuff to shoot for this film is more or less done. I'll drink to that. Anyway, I just needed to ramble a bit. It was ridiculous today, but we got it done. Anyway, catch you later.